A gondola moves through a Venetian canal with a silent, weightless elegance. To the casual observer, it's a simple wooden boat slicing through dark water. But this motion depends on a specific, invisible intersection of geometry, hydrodynamics, and hand-tooled engineering. Today, nearly 400 of these boats are in active service across the city. Every one of them was built by hand, serving as a direct, daily physical link to centuries of maritime history. Keeping those boats afloat requires constant maintenance, but the highly specialized boatyards and the master craftsmen capable of doing this work are quietly disappearing. These yards are known as squeri. If the last few close their doors, the cultural DNA required to build a true Venetian gondola will simply cease to exist. Tucked along a narrow canal in the Dorsoduro district sits the Squero di San Trovaso. In a city of heavy stone and brick, this building is a startling physical anomaly, built entirely of dark timber with a sloping roof. That alpine design dates back to the 1600s. The original woodworkers migrated to the lagoon from the Dolomite Mountains, and they built their workshops using the familiar, rustic architecture of their snowy hometowns. Fewer than 5 of these historical yards remain active. They face constant pressure, from the aggressive wake and churning water generated by heavy motorboat traffic, which batters the wooden hulls. Then there is the rising tide. In November 2019, an extreme flood pushed the water level 6 feet above normal. The surge overwhelmed these ground-level boatyards, twisting machinery and damaging hulls under construction. Today, San Trovaso operates as a vulnerable wooden fortress, defending an ancient maritime trade against an increasingly hostile modern environment. The birth of every new gondola begins on the workshop floor. It starts with a cantier, a fixed wooden frame bolted to the concrete. This space dictates the exact shape, curve, and dimensions of every boat built upon it. From that floor frame, it takes roughly 2 months and 400 hours of manual labor to cut, shape, and assemble the boat's 280 individual components. This diagram shows the hull's complex anatomy. A builder uses 8 different varieties of wood, selected for specific structural properties. The interior thwarts are flexible cherry wood, while the long outer side panels are oak, providing durability to survive impacts. Before a single saw touches those planks, the raw timber must sit outdoors in season for at least a full year. This ensures moisture evaporates slowly, preventing the wood from warping in the humid lagoon. This strict material complexity ensures the gondola operates as a highly tuned, living instrument, built to flex and respond to the water. This precision addresses a specific engineering challenge. A gondolier stands on the back right side of the boat, rowing with a single oar on the right side. Physics suggests the boat should spin in circles to the left. This schematic outlines Domenico Tramontin's 1884 solution, a calculated asymmetry. The right side is straight, while the left sweeps outward, exactly 9 inches wider. This wider left side generates extra upward buoyancy, counteracting the gondolier's weight on the right, allowing the boat to track straight. During the final stages of the build, the skeleton is flipped. Craftsmen use heavy vices to pull the bow and stern downward, locking the wood into its sweeping upward curve. That bend is specifically calibrated to the exact body weight of the individual gondolier who commissioned the boat, ensuring it will lie perfectly flat once they step aboard. Next, the seams are packed with a specialized caulking compound that expands with the wood, followed by a thick, waterproof epoxy base to seal the hull. Finally, the hull receives multiple coats of black enamel. This color is a legal requirement dating back to a 1609 decree, implemented to stop noble families from competing with increasingly ostentatious, brightly painted boats. Every physical trait of the completed boat, from its sweeping curve to its black paint, is dictated by gravity and ancient law. Before the boat can be piloted, it requires 2 highly specialized external components. The first is the forcula, the hand-carved oarlock. Sculpted from a single block of walnut, its series of notches provides the gondolier with multiple leverage points to adjust their stroke based on the speed and the current. At the front sits the ferro, the heavy iron ornament. While it looks decorative, its primary function is serving as a counterweight to balance the weight of the gondolier at the far back. Symbolically, its shape maps the city. The 6 forward-facing prongs represent the 6 districts of Venice. The S-curve mirrors the Grand Canal, and the top blade mimics the Doge's hat. Yet these engineering tools, the forcola, the ferro, the asymmetrical hull, are only effective when paired with the generational human skill required to wield them. When launch day finally arrives, the boat's balance is finally tested against the water. Any infinitesimal error in the geometry will be immediately apparent once the hull touches the canal. In recent years, the slow rhythm of the boatyard has stood in contrast to the shocks outside its walls. During the pandemic, the local economy halted, and the normally crowded promenades sat completely empty. Through floods and economic crashes, the hammers in these workshops keep their rhythm. This ongoing labor defines Venice as a working city, sustained by its active trades. When a new gondola leaves the yard, it represents a silent culmination of geometry, history, and quiet defiance. That silent motion on the water is the result of thousands of hours of manual precision, a stubborn persistence that keeps the city's identity afloat.